Good afternoon, good evening, good weekend, good night, and welcome to another edition of African Americans Ain't Africans, the Think Show that proves without a shadow of a doubt that the so-called African American didn't find his way to America in the trunk of a ship. I'm your host, the Indigenous one. Everybody has been checking out what's been going on in America. And if you always notice, it's always has to do with the Negro over here. Always. And what the Negro does, never thinks about why, never think why he's always in the middle. But all these foreigners are coming over here pimping you like a dirty foot hoe. Because that's what's happening. Because you can be told shit by people who aren't your people. You can be told stuff and led always down the wrong road. You confused, your mama's confused, your kids confused, and you can't even explain what the hell you doing. Well, tonight we're going to talk about one of those groups that are right here doing you in. And seriously, we in 2020, we getting dogged out. We getting dogged out. And it's always somebody like that Marcus Garvey shit leading you down the wrong road, and we so stupid we can't even figure it out. So you know all the groups that come to America and they bring all these bullshit ideologies with them, and then when you ask them to explain themselves, they always got that dumbass look on their face. Tonight we're going to talk about one of those groups. And if you ever talk to these cats, when you ask them questions, they do the same thing the Moors do. They do the same things Christians do. They do the same thing Muslims do. They never answer your questions. They just run their yap and hope if they say it long enough and enough time that you'll be dumb enough to believe it. That group is the Hebrew Israelites. And you know what's funny about them? You know who inspired them? You know where they get their thinking from? None other than Marcus Garvey. Now, I know many of y'all love him. He was the cat that was trying to get you to go back to Africa. Never been to Africa in his life. When he got put out of America, I don't know why. This is probably a lie story too. He didn't even go to Africa. He died up there with his queen. And if you ask those Negroes, well, how come he never went to Africa? Why you? I don't know. Why are you bringing that up? This is the same shit that the Hebrew Israelites talk about. Absolutely nothing. You'll also understand that Hebrew Israelite don't come from America. It comes down there in the Caribbean. Because you got to remember, the people in the Caribbean, when they came to America, they immigrated in. When they immigrated in, they had to do something. They had to, the mothers had to do something to come over here and mop floors. They'll tell you. They'll tell you if you ask them. But many of us are so dumb, we just swallow it and go along with it. So tonight, we're going to talk about the Hebrew Israelites. And please, any of y'all in the chat, we'll read your chat. We'll put your chat on. You know what? This is what I'm going to do. We're going to put the number up. So if you want to call, and please come with it. Don't come with that old bullshit that you normally do. We're going to show you how these Hebrew Israelites, just like the other groups, got Negroes confused. That's why motherfuckers can shoot you in the ass and not care. Because you don't care. You don't care about your mama. You don't care about your grandmama. You will let somebody from somebody else tell you about you. But they will never tell you nothing about themselves. You don't find that odd? No, with the Negro. So we're going to talk about the Hebrew Israelites tonight. And it's some simple things, simple, that I want you to that when you hear what they do, you gotta ask yourself, how can you believe this? Joining me tonight from African Americans Ain't Africans, we have Charlene Brown, sister from Philadelphia, and she be coming with it. And we also have Shy Ray. She's another sister from African Americans Ain't Africans. And I don't understand how we don't get it, because you would think when sisters are explaining stuff, you would get it like your mother explaining it to you. And why that's important, because the mother is the first voice that always talking to you. So hearing a woman's voice makes it simpler. Somehow we get mad at them because they know more than us. And all of these Negroes, I don't care if it's Christians, Hebrew Israelite, Moors, dumb is giving them a compliment because they expecting you to be where they are, not knowing nothing and confusing you even more. That's why people can go around and shoot you in the ass, because you're not even acting how you're supposed to act. You're not acting like the people who are from here. Other people come and take your place. Why? Because you're taking other people's place. How in the hell are you going to be a bunch of people from the desert in the Middle East, and your mom and daddy's grandmama and granddaddy, great grandmama and granddaddy from right here, and you pretend like you from over there? And then when we start asking you, well, explain how you got here. Well, brother, they had some sharks, and you just stupid shit. So we're going to get into the Hebrew Israelites, where they come from, how it started, how they got, just like Marcus Garvey. How did Marcus Garvey come to America and trick y'all to believe it, that you from Africa? And this was, what, 70 years ago, 80 years ago? And Negroes still own it. They still believe it. This cat told you to take your ass to Africa, which many of you do today, and he never even stepped foot over there. Well, brother, he bought ships. You can get Negroes to buy anything. They won't support themselves. They won't take that loot and open up an education center for their children. They'll do whatever anybody tells them to do, right or wrong. You damn right. So, Hebrew Israelites, check these shines out. The Hebrew Israelites, and what's real lame about these cats is that you never read about them in the papers. If you read the papers in the 1800s, if you read the legislature in the 1800s, 1850s, I know you heard about the Republican Party was started by indigenous men from here. They never talk about the Hebrew Israelites. You go to the historically black colleges and universities, they never talk about the Hebrew Israelites. Never. And these cats come tell you some bullshit and you swallow it because they say it. The Hebrew Israelites got their start. This is the cold part. So this is why people can kill you, shoot you in the back, and not give a shit about it, because you don't care. And you don't. These cats, check out the brother who started these cats. This dude name was Wentworth Arthur Matthew. Who in America name is Wentworth? Guess who they were inspired by? Guess who got them going? Guess who made them think, hey, we can do this? Marcus Garvey. He was a West Indian immigrant. Now, the term West Indian should let you all know, because the people here were called West Indians too. The problem that I have with people in the West Indies is this. They come up here and tell you all about yourself, but if you go down to where they from, if you go to Jamaica and tell them who they are, they'll slap the shit out of you. What's that? What's that? Anybody can come tell you who you are, let you try it. They'll shoot you down. And these shines can come tell you anything. And when you start asking questions, they start giving you some bullshit. Most of us fall for it. No. So this cat comes up to New York City. Keep New York City as a feather in your hat, because you're going to see what New York City has been to the Negro. From hip hop music, that Africa Bambaataa shit, a pedophile, a cat that screws little boys, claims that he's the leader he started hip hop. This is how we always lose. And then when somebody like me come talking about it, y'all just dog me. Fuck, nigga, you don't know what you talking about. You just mad because you ain't. No, it ain't that. We're supposed to be living on. We're supposed to be doing what we're supposed to be doing here in America to help keep Earth in its balance. We're always off balance because we always swallowing what anybody shoot down our throat. This cat comes from the West Indies, and remember this, a lot of times these cats, nobody tells you where they from. It's always up in the air. We don't know. We don't know what year he was born in. We don't know where he's from. We don't know who his mom and daddy. It's always some bullshit. And you got so-called scholars. Negroes always call somebody who's dumb a scholar. He comes and tells you that the Negro are the original Hebrews from the Bible. So you got cats who wandered around in the desert for 40 years. You're claiming that you're them. But you won't go over there and claim it. And if you check out the ones who are over in Israel doing it, they got them niggas living like slaves. They not doing nothing. This is 2020. And this is where we are. You're claiming that you're some people who aren't even a factor on the planet today. That's what you claim that you are. Where in the world can you go today and the Hebrew Israelites have their own whatever? You will turn your back on what your people left for you, what other people, including those in the West Indians, come over to get, because you're not even paying attention. These cats claim that we're gonna get into the Hebrew Israelites are. And this is the point. I'm trying to check out who these people are by what they Bible say, not by what I say. This is reading their stuff. Who they are. What they are. And these sisters today gonna be like, I mean, really? This is why we're so confused today. This is why when 7 cops, I don't know how many cops it was, is on your ass with a gun, and you know that they will kill you. You know that they want to kill you. You will run and reach into your weapon when you know on their computer they got you for all kind of stuff. Why does a brother do that? Who would teach their son that? Who teaches their son that? What right thinking man does that? We get blown away all the time because we confused. We don't know. Huh? We never know nothing. And the reason we never know nothing is because of groups like this. Christianity is the biggest one. We're going to get on Christianity in a few weeks. And them, I mean, ugh. You won't be yourself. You won't be who you came here to earth to be. Anybody can come tell you you a monkey and ask Steve Harvey. You will be a monkey. I don't care how much money you got. I don't care what kind of car you got. You still they slave. It's like the old saying goes. What do you call a Negro with money? A nigger. That's how everybody sees you. And you take on all these dead ideologies that won't even take on your own. And you got the nerve to be pissed off because somebody is calling you out. Any Hebrew Israelite out there listening, call the number. It's around the screen. And come make an ass of yourself. Because that's what you're going to do. You're going to take people from the Bible? Dress up like really? This is where we are. So what I'm saying is, why are you seeing everything is centered around the people in America, the Indians in America? Why? Because you're the indigenous people here. They have to get rid of you so all the immigrants can come over and take your spot. Ain't that what's happening? Hey, man. So right now I'm going to bring these two sisters in. They're going to give you what they know, what they study about these so-called Hebrew Israelites, what they say, what they found out, where they working, what these cats say to them. Because remember, check out the Hebrew Israelites in the Bible. If you read it, check them out in the Bible and check out what they did. Check out how they were. Then if you really want to get, yeah, check out what D.D. Queen said. D.D. Queen said, I never see any Hebrew women, only men, because they beat the shit out of them. That's why. Ask any sister that worked in the court system. Who are the Hebrew Israelites? That's a sister who works in the court system. Ask them. These cats come tell you any goddamn thing, and you swallow it. I want to bring on my homegirl. First off, before I bring in Shireen, I want to bring in Charlene Brown. What's going on, babe?
Hey, hey, hey.
Hey, hey, hey. What's up with these Hebrew Israelites, Charlene?
They are brotherhood. The only way that I can see it is that when you let another peoples from somewhere else take away your masculinity, take away your masculinity skills, or things that you need to do for your collective, then you have to take the secondary route. Carrie, I try to understand this. I really just cannot understand how a bunch of grown people know that their grandparents, know that their grandmother told them their direct nation, still want to believe that they're descendant from men, from like you said, in the goddamn desert, walked around 40 years lost, but yet and still they found their damn way over here. For real.
I mean, simple. Shireen, how you doing tonight, love?
Oh, I'm fine. I'm fine. Listen, I don't know about the Hebrew Israelites in the scholarly manner. I don't know them that way. I only know individuals that have um, embraced that idea. But so I won't present myself as such, you know. But I will say that as with all the other ideologies, it's just a distraction and it's also a deflection, because when you really look at all these ideologies that we're dealing with right now, they all came into being around the same period of time,
Right.
and they had to because remember, the pale people here, they had an agreement with our folk that they was going to be here for a certain amount of time until the confusion that was going on in Europe, all of that supposed to have settled. So I think it's clever, to be honest with you, because when you think about it, they thought they had long range goals in making sure that they can stay here indefinitely. And one of the ways to stay here indefinitely is to have the heirs to the land give up their inheritance. And every time we co sign these different groups, changing our identity to reflect those groups, we're abandoning our inheritance. That's what we're doing. And who benefits? See, this is one of the things that people never step back and think about. Who benefit when I become what other people need me to be? They need us to be Hebrews. They need us to be Pan Africans. They need us to be Kemites and all of this stuff, because that way we don't have any claim to this land. See? So they move us psychologically off the land, and eventually we're believing that till we leave this land physically. So
See, what I don't get, what you just said, Shire, that's what, first grade stuff?
you would think.
I know people 60, 70 years old still pumping that shit to their kids.
Mm,
And so when I ask them, okay, well, what are the Hebrew Israelites doing there? Where are their embassies? How come, see, this is what I don't get. From all these Africans, all these Kemites, all these Christians, how come you don't go to where you say your home is
mhm.
and talk that shit? Why do you think that is, Shire?
Well, because innately they know this is their home. But this is also a way to not take responsibility for this home.
Oh, I see.
You recently I've had this thing where I would sit and listen to these videos from siblings who decided to move to different parts of Africa. They go to those different parts of Africa with the same mindset that they have here, but they think that they're smarter than the Africans over there and they're going to take it over. Now, who do they sound like? So it's not even different with the Hebrew Israelites. You know the Hebrew Israelites are over in places like Fiji and Australia trying to convince those indigenous people that they are one of the 12 tribes? They are. But
Yeah.
see, there's a strategy to all of this. It is. W- Again, our folks need to step back and ask who benefit. They need to do this because we become our own worst nightmares because we refuse to think. Those people over there, they about to get their stuff back. They about to get their lands back. They gradually taking control over their ancestral lands. And here you have people showing up with ideologies so that these people will accept it and abandon their land. But guess what? Those people are not buying into that mess because they know what's important. Their land is important. So,
Yeah. And
Nick,
and
I,
and and this is what do you say, Charlene?
I say, isn't this how Europeans were able to adopt our land as their own because they have written us out of history and had us claiming other people?
mhm.
Yes.
Can't nobody come and adopt your home as their own and run your shit if you're on point, if you're on your square, if you know this is your home. And see, that's what, when I talk with a lot of elders, I get on them. How did y'all let this happen? How did y'all not check our work to make sure we were not being fed this shit in school? Why did y'all stop teaching us our ancestral skills where we could still trade with each other and we not necessarily need money? If I make clothes, you grow tomatoes, somebody else grows lettuce, somebody else grows something else. We could all exchange. We could barter.
So what those type of ideologies, do you see where that confuses us today big time? With everything you see going on in America, it's always the black man is right in the center. And to me, that center is a bullseye. Everything we do is dumb and non-thinking. And you have all these brothers in all these different groups. It's about 100 different groups out there, brothers claiming to be everybody but themselves. Here's a good example: the casinos. All these people are claiming to be you, but you're claiming to be other people. And they just come in and set up, and you will go in their casinos and make them rich. Is that not confusion or what?
That's Christianity shit.
How does that? These are men. I don't care what they wearing. I don't care how intelligent. Well, when we speak, I don't. They sound dumb. And then it really gets me. It really pisses me off because when you look at other places in the world, like let's say New Orleans, brothers don't even run the shrimping industry down there. People from the Far East run the shrimping industry. We cool with it. We it's okay. We are rather fight and dog each other out, especially the men and women. The thing that men and women got going, the indigenous men and women in America, so you can tell that there's a ploy to get rid of your ass. And I don't know how you can't see it. Because
Well,
you
actually,
think that,
Carrie, there's no karma to them. Carrie, there's no karma to them if we destroy ourselves.
yes,
Makes me laugh is that when people say, "Oh, they're gonna pay," how the hell they gonna pay?
right.
I've never seen a white guy on no street corner in no indigenous community selling no damn dope.
We don't want to talk about that though. Let's not talk about that. Let's talk about something else. And I get that's where you're talking about responsibility. Every time the responsibility part come out of it, we always trying to weasel and bullshit our way out of it.
Yeah, I'm saying that these foreigners don't have the karma coming to them that we think that they have coming to them. We have been taught how to destroy ourselves.
This is what Indigenous Accomac says. Aren't the children born in the 50s and 60s at fault now? Funking, rapping, and New Jack swinging into ignorance. New Jack swing. This is what I would. This is what I would say. The children born in the 30s and 40s was taught by the people who was born in the 10s and 20s. And those people who were born in the 20s and 30s didn't do what rabbits do, what squirrels do. They check out their environment and they grow from there. What does the dumb Negro do? You from Africa. Okay, boss, I'm from Africa. That's it. That's all it takes. And I talk to people now who are in their 60s and 70s. They say, oh, we're from Africa. Well, where in Africa? Uh, I don't know. What ship did you come in on? Where are the ships that brought all these Africans over? Where are these ships that brought these Hebrew? These are characters that people wrote in the Bible. That if you read the Bible, you got to be like, what the hell is this? You read the first 5 pages of the Bible, you'll be more confused than when you started reading it. And these are people who are 60, 70 years old, still teach their grandkids this shit. And they can't, and then when they can't explain it, they don't say, you know what? I don't even know what the hell I'm talking about. They'll get mad at you for questioning the dumb shit they telling you. That's where the Negro in America is today. Dude, what was your great grandmother? What was your great great grandfather? What spiritual ideologies did they have? I don't know. So, Charlene Brown, let me ask you this. Do you think us being and following all these different ideologies, not knowing nothing about ourselves, do you think that's the forerunner of what's happening to us here in America today? How do
Yes,
you think that plays? How do you think that plays in?
because if you look at it, we're the only people who have a natural, unconditional right to be in America. This is our ancestral homeland. If the Moors, the Hebrew Israelites, the Muslims, Europeans don't like what the fuck going on, they got a home to go to. This is our home. And if our people were to stand up and say, hey, this is our home, our ancestors were here before you brought your laws here, we supersede their laws. We should have never been caught up in their system anyway. They should have never been able to gain jurisdiction over us anyway.
So where do you think the so-called, and I'll call these dudes black men because they really dogged us out. What do you think about the brothers that come over here from other places, and when you ask them, well, how come you don't go to Hebrewville and ask them that or talk that shit over there? The answers they give you, they are running away.
Okay. Case in point, one day, couple brothers stopped me to give me a pamphlet, and I looked at it and I started laughing. So I asked the brother, my first question, I asked both the brothers, where y'all grandmamas from? One of the guys told me from one of the islands. I looked at him, I said, do I look like a fucking fool to listen to anything you got to tell me about who I am over my grandmother? When your grandmother wasn't the one found in the South, he fell back. The other guy would not answer my question.
Yeah, I use that tactic too, because listen. There's a group online in Facebook called Bobby Hemmett. It's a Bobby Hemmett group. Check out what's going on over there. These cats, they got these Mongolian Native Americans dogging Afrocentrics. They got Negroes in there laughing and backing them up. You get them, boss. You ever see that movie Life?
Yes.
And remember that? Remember the brother who was the guard in jail, and he was just a shine. He was like Uncle Ruckus. We have a phone call. Let's see what this cat talking about. What's going on, brother?
Yeah, I seen the phone number.
Oh, okay, well, you call it. What's happening?
Yeah, not much, man. Just want to talk about a few native issues.
You want to talk about what?
A few native issues. I see the phone call.
Hit it.
Yeah. So like, basically, what I kind of want to say something on the issue is that I feel that there's something coming. You know what I mean? I think that it's about time that a lot of people they start putting their foot down, finally, and doing something about it. You know what I mean? And the way I look at it is that what we call black people, whatever, native, we've been here since the beginning of time. When God made this place, God put us over here and made this our little sanctuary. You know what I'm saying? Like it's all this where it's supposed to be. It's it. So I look at other people. I look at the Mexican. I look at some of these other people, the Haitian and stuff, and we the only ones that kept our white people. You know what I mean? The other ones, they got rid of their white people. You know what I'm saying? They took us back to where they came from, but we the only ones that kept our white people. And this is the number one problem why we had COVID. We had to, we never did what was necessary back in the day. What I look at is, we do need to, go through a mass education process where every black person needs to understand that this is the home. But at the same time, though, there's kind of difference with the land and principle stuff, but it is about a certain amount of love. It just ain't right. Like, we deserve to have our little freedom, our little place where we could be a kid. You know what I mean? We need that. Because I'm tired of censoring myself around people. I want to be myself and love to have fun, I don't think that's too much to ask.
Yeah. Well, brother, thank you for sharing your ideas with us. Please don't be a stranger and listen. Teach these kids out here who they are, because we look stupid. And like the sister said earlier, isn't it up to people who was born in the 50s and 60s, and ain't it they turn? Because the civil rights group, they failed miserably. They failed miserably. And as long as we keep saying, oh, they were great, John Lewis was the bomb, oh my God, we embarrass ourselves in front of our children. Thanks a lot, brother, for calling. I want to get this next call.
Oh, for sure.
All right, brother. All right, brother. Area code 313. What's happening?
I'll tell you, it's an outstanding show. You guys are really hitting the high points. And I think that what you're saying is that no one of any form of religion can come in and tell the very aboriginal indigenous what their flavor of their life is. It is no one in any other nation permits it. And we should not be doing that ourselves. And so in other words, we know by the flavor of our life how the Creator interacted with us, our food, our temperament, our way of interacting with our family, and everything. So you guys are hitting it right on the point. And the Hebrew Israelites and all the others are false narratives used to determine to drive a social agenda. And so I want to thank you today. You guys are doing a great job of standing up for what really is and what should be. So that's why I'm calling.
Well, brother, that's what we do it for. So at least brothers like you can understand what we're saying, because we know it's a lot of us out there and we seeing what's happening to us and we getting drove. So, brother, thank you for calling.
And Brother Davis, real quick, are you related to any Davises in the Michigan area by chance?
I had a couple of aunts that moved up there in Michigan, Ohio, but the family dynamic is so twisted, dude. It's like we're not really into that. We're not really into finding our folks. And so if you're in Michigan and let's say they grow Buckeyes, I don't know what they grow up there, and the people in California grow almonds. It's like the sister was saying earlier, we don't see where we have a connection and that we can make life better for all. We don't look at it like that because we're looking at some Hebrew Israelite shit. You know what I'm saying? The family isn't, and that's, brother, it's not every single one of us, because there are a lot of families here, and there's a lot of families that I learned from that they tell me things. But the majority of us, dude, we want to be crackers so bad. We want to be anything other than ourselves so bad. And you see it.
Yeah, but when we're authentic in who we are with the Creator, all these other religions, whether it be Muslims, Hebrew Israelites, or even Christianity, they know that you're so authentic. They know that they cannot duplicate that reality because see, we're so one with the spirit in the sense of our living existence that they get intimidated because they're working off dogma.
Right.
They're working off of things that they're trying to promote, and we're working off what our Creator has given us in life. And so I'm telling you something. There is coming a serious revolution of the indigenous that will be the true, what we call the spiritual acronym that will be the real deal to us. If you want to see that, that's my goal. I'm called for that, and I have the appointment for that. So you'll be talking to me shortly about that, because I see it for what it is. And all those other religions, they're scared of it. They know I mean the real business of this.
That's right, brother.
Because we are the people of the land, by the land, and for the land. And no one can come in and duplicate who we are and what we are.
Though they try, don't they?
They try it though, boy. Because they know it's the goal. They know it's it's the nature of motherhood. And they understand that this is the land, the oldest of them all, and the mother of them all.
Cool, brother. Well, thank you for joining us tonight, man. Please don't be a stranger.
Thank you. I will do it. And that's James. That's my English name, but I have another name, so we'll talk to you.
All right, James. Thanks, brother.
Thank you.
All right.
Hey, Carrie.
Go ahead, babe.
Now, what Indigenous Accomac said, are the children born in the 50s and 60s at fault? Now, you know what? Now, remember, the children of the 50s and 60s, the one that went off to college, they were the ones that were exposed to these Afrocentric studies, and they were the ones that came back and taught their younger siblings that bullshit.
Ooh, you're right. You're absolutely right. So when you say the 50s when you say the 50s and the 60s, I remember there was a movie out in the 60s called A Raisin in the Sun. And a lot of you guys probably remember this. Because remember, these people don't do nothing just to do it. They take their time because they got to get you steeped into it, is because, like Charlene said, a lot of us peep it out. Do you know you have places in America, in some of these southern towns, and probably a whole lot of other towns too, where the people haven't changed for 1,000 years? In America, those are your people. You don't go to them because you want to go to Vegas, you want to go to Disney World. You don't even know about your own people. And I know people from Mississippi, and if you ever been to Mississippi, later for the people and the laws, the land is off the hook. You got the Mississippi River rolling right through it, but you would rather take your coon ass over to Egypt, a barren land, and claim them are your people? Are you serious? This is what the so-called intelligentsia of the black community does. And they pass it down, like Charlene was saying. They pass it down to our youth. And now you see these cats we don't have no semblance of nothing. So I just look at it like this. The peoples in the 50s and 60s, they was taught by the peoples in the 30s and 40s. African Americans ain't Africans. Welcome to the call. Please come with it.
Hey, what's happening, man?
What's happening, cuz?
It's Copper Warrior calling from Cleveland, Ohio.
What's going on, Copper Warrior?
Hey, man, there's a whole lot going on. I just listened to your post, and it's like, this is crazy. Just with this Hebrew Israelite stuff, just another ideology that trap our folks. Especially at what I come to find, a lot of people is involved in this stuff is at their lowest mental state, spiritual state, trying to find themselves, not themselves, but trying to find a place to be.
That's a good way to look at it. They're trying to they're trying to find a place to be, and they're trying to run all over you. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and not only that, you find a lot of these people have been, in prison and all kind of traumatic things that happen in their lives, and that's what this religious stuff does. Trying to find whatever, trying to find a place, of comfort and whatever. Don't know nothing about their family, don't know about their family story, their family's history, nothing. They just accept this other nonsense.
So copper color tie. Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. We don't. So let me. To me, this is how the confusion starts. So, and copper color tie, this is nothing against you, brother. I just want you to see how we always confuse by the statement you just said. And the statement you will say it to somebody, it'll show up on here, and people will be confused by it. Here's another way. You ever hear when you tell people, when people say, we're the copper color indigenous, autochthonous, we have about 6 different titles to describe one person? That's confusion. We're confused. Our language is confused. We will say we're 9 different things instead of saying, well, hey, my people are the Anuia, my people are the Accomax, my people are the Choctaw, my people are the Washita, from Arkansas. And it's Washita, Ouchita, not WAS, whatever that the Moors call themselves. So people come and take your stuff because you don't know about it, because you want to be Michael Jackson. People will come take your stuff and use it, and they do it every day. And we got people with 70, 80 still stuck and learned nothing their whole life, still stuck in the same thing they learned when they was 5 years old. What does that mean? They haven't learned anything. So how do you think we in the same position we are now? Brother, we got another phone call. I appreciate you calling. Man, please call back. Thank you for your call. Look, listen. Charlene.
Yes.
What must be done?
We have to start raising conscientious children. We have to do what my grandmama told me. Didn't you hear what I said? Don't be believing what everybody else say. We really have to put it in these kids that our word is gold. And nobody else's story matters. We have to also teach them how to defend who they are. It's just so funny how all these fathers could come and tell me about who I am, and like you said earlier, but can't tell me shit about who they are.
I was when I was in LA, I had a friend of mine. Sister was about 6'2", beautiful. I mean, we were just friends. Everywhere we went together, everybody was on her. She hooked up with this African cat from Nigeria. If you saw her today, she looks like a toothpick with skin wrapped around it. So I contacted her. I'm like, what the fuck happened to you? She said, oh my God. You ever heard of that succubus, incubus? You've heard of that, right? The people that they call the women succubuses and whatever.
Demons.
Huh?
Demons.
Okay. She said she didn't believe that they were real. She knows they are now. And this was 20 years ago. And I told her 20 years ago, what you doing? And damn near every sister that get caught up in that get dogged out. But we have that attitude, and this is what I mean when the sister said the people in the 50s and 60s should be doing something. Well, the people in the 50s and 60s were taught by the people in the 30s and 40s. And the people in the 30s and 40s didn't know shit, so they couldn't pass down nothing to. That's the problem. And then most of us, what did we start doing in the 50s that we cannot leave today? Watching TV. You go in a Negro's house, they got 8, 9 TVs in there. I know cats that brag that they got 60-inch screens in their house. No thinking. I don't think the African American, I don't even think he knows what thinking is. Matter of fact, I know they don't because they don't do it.
Well, things are changing, and if people think, if people keep thinking that everything is gonna get back to quote unquote normal, they got a rude awakening, and our folks have been shucking and jiving for a very long time, and they've been hiding behind all of these ideologies and calling on all of these different groups saying that they're gonna save them, and I'm just here to tell you that's not how that's gonna play out. Our folks gonna have to do an exorcism on themselves, meaning they're gonna have to learn how to work with each other again. You're gonna have to learn how to put aside that I don't deal with black people stuff, and thinking that some savior is gonna come down out of the sky and beat the white man's butt. That's what a guy told me some years ago. Talking about that the, uh, Jesus was coming back and he was gonna beat our oppressors behind. And so we have that mindset that we're gonna have to exercise. And I'm saying we all have our own little burdens to bear that we have to work through. But when we have these ideologies, that means we don't deal with our issues because we're waiting on somebody to come and save us. So if they think they can hide behind that, they have a rude awakening because, hey, the new normal, it's not going to be good for those people who don't think, who don't analyze.
So okay, so what do you think is in store for them?
A reality that we do need each other as a people. We, you know what? Something happened I would say, starting in the late 70s and on to present, where we started thinking like islands instead of a collective of people. And so that's why we have folks that would look you in the eye and say they don't need nobody. That's craziness. We're a collective of people and we've been operating like millions of islands.
You're right.
So that mindset is going to be put to rest because these other people, when things get hard, they band together. They band together. That's what collective of people do. And so our folks, it's going to be a lot of our folks that's going to purge themselves out. Because if you sit back here and you think some person, some other people are going to save you, you have a rude awakening. You have to save yourself. And the only way that we can save ourselves is when we can work with each other. And sadly, I'm just some of these people who are heavy into their ideologies, like Hebrew Israelitism, where how should I say this? These people would purge themselves on because
Go ahead.
they're not in survival mode now. Not all of them. Let me just tell you, there's some Hebrew Israelites that do have their own little communities, and they're working together. But for most part, people gonna have to reclaim this land. It's just as simple as that. We're gonna have to, and you cannot have all those identifiers because you're gonna have some folks. I remember a few years ago there was a YouTube video out where this Hebrew Israelite who was calling himself Hebrew, Native, Moorish, Indigenous, or Tonkan, and I'm like, really? Who's taking you serious with all those identifiers? Because those identifiers take him all over the world. So he's saying what he's he have claimed to all the world. That's not realistic. So
Hey, I don't even know if I'm in.
Oh, who in? Rick Moon, you in, brother?
Oh,
Let
okay,
me.
my fault.
So check out what this brother says. And now this is. I mean, why aren't we thinking about this? Why aren't we thinking? Period. And check out what this brother says. All the cousins in my family are in their own corners. They don't care about family. I'm about to start Cousins Day so we can get back together. Our own holiday. That's what we should be working on. Later for a basketball game. Later for a football game. So you got brothers on a basketball game. What each basketball game? 3 hours apiece. 3 hours time. How many brothers watching the game? Let's say 5 million. That's 15 million hours. And I ask every sister in this chat, what could you do with 15 million hours of labor? What could you build with 15 hours of labor? That's how we fuck off ourselves. Sitting around watching TV, shining, cooning when we got stuff to do. And you can watch the NBA players. They're your so-called leaders, and you see what these shines doing. This is where we are. So either we about to make something happen, or we about to be wiped off the planet, y'all. Because we playing. You got the whole other side of the world. Africa, Asia, and Europe. I know some of y'all love them and they your brothers. They're leaving their places, coming over here to get your shit. And you cool with it. You cool with it. You're leading your brothers, like this brother saying, you're leading your cousins over there while they're coming over here. That's what's happening. That's where we are. Rick Moon, what's going on, homie? Rick Moon ain't there yet. You there, Rick Moon?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry about that, man. I had all kinds of issues trying to get into this thing, man. And I finally figured it out. But what did I miss? I mean, because I don't know if my information is any good. Y'all might already went over.
What you got, brother?
Well, I was going to talk about these dudes and these Hebrew Israelites that started it.
We hit it because we didn't get into that. We didn't get into that deep enough to show the people. We didn't submerge ourselves deep enough into that. So take it away.
Well, I was talking about you got the guy that started the movement, and Wentworth Arthur Matthew. That's a Jamaican dude, and then we got the Crowley guy.
Wait a minute. I gotta ask this. Who the hell do you know in America named Wentworth?
Well, he's a Jamaican, so
No. Yeah, I know he's a Jamaican, but this is where we are. Wentworth? Go ahead, man. I'm sorry. Dee Queen says she was just saying the other day to her brother, this generation don't know their cousins anymore. It's an I thing, and we no longer we. Period. And you got the nerve to walk around here buying other people's clothes. If you look at the clothes that sisters was making in the 20s, in the 30s, in the 40s, you'd be like, damn. Then look at the clothes the sister was making in the 1850s, the 1860s, and 1870s. It was better than the clothes that was made in the 30s, 40s, and 50s. Why? Because you're walking away from your culture. You wanted to integrate. You wanted to be Moors. You wanted to be Hebrews. You wanted to be Africans. And the people who founded you, your ancestors, you turned your back on them. And you think karma ain't gonna come back and bite you in the ass? You got another thought coming. How dare you? And when the sister was saying about karma, this is karma. You breathe in and it comes right back to you. That's what's happening to us. See, and what Charlene was saying was they don't pay no karma because you kill yourself off. It's like the brothers who selling crack in the neighborhood. We get the karma both ways. They lock them up and then they kill off the crackheads. What happens to the people that sell them the crack? Nothing. Because you did it to yourself. And you don't care. You just, I can do what I want to do. Nigga, you don't tell me what to do. I'm me. That's our attitude of it. What goes around comes around. And if you just looking at the happenings on Earth, if you just pay attention to the clouds, Earth, Wind, and Fire told you. Check out the clouds, they'll tell you why. We don't even look up. We don't even look up. What you do comes back to you. Goddamn, we won't even teach our kids that. You in the middle of a damn pandemic. You don't think this is a perfect time for us to come up with an education for our children? Really? Where's all the teachers? Where's all the scholars? You don't think it's time for, with this COVID bullshit, you don't think it's time for us to come up with our own medical, really? We got all this education. We got all these doctors. We got all these nurses. We don't have our own hospitals. You know why? Because that's not what we're supposed to have. Because, see, we make things better. Those people try to take the dead people and make them better. It's already better. That's why everybody's coming over here. They will. Hey, you see, you. I know some of y'all out there and seen them. They got Indians will bring their wife's mother and father, their wife's brother and sister, the mother's kids, the mother's brothers and sisters over here, say that they're you to get in a black university, see Kamala Harris. They'll play that they're you just to go to school over here. And you know what you do? We are the world. We are the children. You let everybody come over here and piss in your face, piss in your kid's face, and you cool with it. Ain't that what happened to Kamala Harris? Now all these sisters in these Greek sororities, why didn't they pick one of us? You idiot, because you pushed her up front. You don't think about yourself because you're Greek. You don't think about what's going on here. See, you playing Greek. You let a motherfucker burn a Greek symbol in your arm, but you won't go find out who your grandmama is. For real, cuz?
Yo, man. Did y'all talk about these leaders, man, of this movement and what they did and who they were?
We waiting for you to tell us.
Okay. Let me get into this real quick, because you kind of talking about you more into like solutions right now, but to give you a little history on these dudes, the guy that started the Hebrew Israelites, the first chapter, his name was Frank Cherry, and this dude, he believed that he had a vision that the so-called African Americans were the chosen people for the tribe of Judah. And that's what he's going around telling this guy. He also believed in a square earth. He believed that Jesus, and this is for you Christians too. He believed that Jesus was coming in 2000, and he built a pretty good following, with this stuff, And I just find it, hard to believe that none of these people that get into these groups don't check them out first. And one of the other pioneers of Hebrew Israelites name was William Saunders Crowley. Now this dude, he fought in the Civil War against the brothers, because if y'all don't know, in the South was mainly us. We was the one doing all the fighting. Because we were the landowners. We owned everything just about in the South. So but they twisted up everything to make it like you didn't own nothing. Europeans owned it all, and you was fighting for them. But what this dude did, he fought for the North, and he and afterwards, after the Civil War, he became a Buffalo Soldier. And if y'all don't know who the Buffalo Soldiers were, these was indigenous brothers killing indigenous brothers. He also
for the expansion of the colonists. Sorry, Rick.
Now see, you threw me off. He also was a huge follower of Marcus Garvey. And I think y'all, hopefully y'all know who Marcus Garvey was too. I mean, we talked about him before, that he wasn't what everybody thought he was either. And the other so-called pioneer name was Wentworth Arthur Matthew. He's from Jamaica, but he told people that he was born in Nigeria. So I really don't know where he was born. This guy, he actually followed Jewish law. Not, he didn't bring anything new. He just went straight to the Jews and adopted their law. He even tried to join the New York Board of Rabbis, but they wouldn't let him in because he was a nigger. So these are the people. Just to tell you a little bit about them, these are the people that were the pioneers of the Hebrew Israelites. And my question for all these Hebrew Israelites is, okay, the guy Matthew, I think he's the oldest. I think he was born first, 1847. Now, my question is, who was teaching about Hebrews before 1847? Because the Hebrew Israelite is a group that started in America. Didn't start, in the Middle East or none of that. They actually started in America. Like I said, these guys, Frank Cherry and Saunders Crowley, they started their movement because of visions that they had. And, I mean, if they could do that, I think maybe, and everybody wants to join all these different things. Maybe that's what we need to do. Maybe we need to make up some lies and people join us. But that's not what we're about. We're trying to give y'all the truth. So that's about it, that I had to say. I just wanted to give a little background on these dudes.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because we fall for bullshit so easy. And I want to ask, where do you guys think that's from? Because it's like, because I most of my family's Christians, And they, when they speak, is nobody hears them because they're not talking about nothing. And they say they're biblical scholars and they went to some Bible college and they got ordained or whatever. But when you tell them, well, on page 1, it tells you that 2 men made a woman, they go crazy because I've never seen that. It is right there on page 1. So what do you think all of these, what you're saying, Rick, all of these ideologies, all of the beliefs, all of these people coming from different places and their dreams, and they had a vision. How do you think that's passed down to the majority of people, here in America?
Ooh, that's I don't know how they get. I don't know how they get all this stuff. I mean, uh,
No. I'm not saying how they get it, because how they get it is bullshit.
mm,
But I'm saying when they pass it down to us and we swallow it like it's candy, what do you think that? What do you think that? How, when it passes down to us, what do you think it does to us?
okay. Well, when it's passed down, it is all it does is just make us even more vulnerable. And the reason why a lot of people join these different factions, foreign organizations, is because they don't want to be responsible. They don't want to be responsible for nothing. That's just like that example, the Afrocentrics. They live over here, but they brag about Africa, but in the background, they don't have to be responsible for either one, because they're not taking responsibility for America because they're talking all this junk about it. But they're not being responsible for Africa either because they're living over here. And another thing that people looking for benefits. That's what they're looking for. That's really, I think that's probably the biggest thing, is they're looking for the benefit. If it, like this guy say, Jesus coming in 2000, everybody think Jesus is gonna save everybody, so they buy into it. You have some, they offer these benefits like the reparations deal. Another example, all these knuckleheads crying about reparations, but they don't even know what reparations is. All they know that it's a benefit, so I want it. But they don't know, and they don't know the difference between reparations and restitution. They don't. Of course, they don't know that they're the real Indians on this land. I mean, on this earth. I'm sorry, on land. That's a patriarchal word, and I'm trying to cut it out of my language. And that's how it is, man. Everybody looking for something, but don't want to do nothing to get it.
So what do you see? Let's say 20 years down the road.
20 years down the road, you know what? One good thing I can say, I'm starting to see the changes. I'm starting to see, because a lot of these groups are starting to fade out because they running out of lives, And of course, I have to thank people like us for that, because we spreading truth, and we telling the whole story. They're only telling the story to suit their narratives. Example, nature. Do you hear Hebrew Israelites talking about nature? Do you hear Afrocentrics talking about nature? Do you hear Christians talking about nature? Moors, do they talk about nature? None of them. But nature is absolute truth. So if you're not speaking nature, and you're connected to everything, every living thing in America, you connected to all the plants, the animals, everything. You have a connection with all of that. And you blend in with all of that too. That's why we keep stressing, go to the forest and meet yourself.
Hey, if you ever get a chance to watch Phoenix Moon normally does her classes outdoors. Look at how she blends in with nature. She just fits in simple because you fit in with nature. That's why it's idiotic to keep calling yourself black, autochtonon, blah 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 blah. Who are you?
Well, toxinous, excuse me, ain't nothing wrong with a toxinous because
I'm
that means that you were ascended from the soil.
I'm not saying it's not. I'm not
Oh,
saying. I'm just saying simply, did your grandmama speak in Autoch or however you spell it? She said
okay,
who you want. That's all I'm saying.
okay, I got you.
And that's what we don't do. We call ourselves all these European bullshit ass names, but what did your grandmama call herself? I mean, the Geechee, the Gullah Geechee, there is a river called the Ogeechee River that runs straight down South Carolina and Georgia. So I mean, damn. They
Mhm.
got the Washita Indians in Arkansas. Why? Because of the Washita Mountains. I mean, it's simple. You got the Mississippi River running down Louisiana. Those people call themselves the Mississippians. Somebody come tell you Batman, Superman, Aquaman at the same time, and you try to be all of them. That's all I'm saying. Who are you? We call ourselves all this different bullshit that don't mean nothing. Who are you? But we don't want to talk about that. So, yo, man, I appreciate you, man. Appreciate you sharing with us.
Thank you.
That's because that's what it is, man. We keep calling ourselves everything. Who are you? If you called your mama daddy, she wouldn't answer. And we think we can just keep calling ourselves all this bullshit and it's gonna work. I mean, I ain't gotta even tell you it's not because you see it. Who your folks? Where they
And
live?
another,
Go ahead, Rick.
and another thing, evidently, they must have think that their grandparents and all their elders was lying for them to even take on a foreign ideology because that's not because who knows you better than your elders and your parents? Who knows you better? They was there when you was born. They the one that raised you. They know everything about you, and you're gonna believe what some dude that you never saw in your whole life. You're gonna believe what they say over your elders. I mean, evidently they lying to you, or you think they lying. But I don't. I don't think that most of y'all think that they would lie to you intentionally. So why y'all going to these other foreign ideologies because they want benefits?
Also, think about it like this. Remember, they say the Bible is the word of God.
Lord have mercy.
No, seriously, they say that. And so it makes it easier. It makes it easier to say this is the word of God, and this you're the people, you the chosen people in this Bible. Because God in that Bible that is smiting everybody and everything, and okaying a whole lot of ratchet stuff. So people look at that and they co-sign it. They co-sign it. And you know what? But we right back to the elders again, because remember, I had elders growing up and they knew the Bible backwards and forward on some things. Okay. So they pretty much laid the foundation for the Hebrew Israelites to come along, or any of these other groups to come along and have that Bible as their basis. See? So instead of, and it's the funny thing, in that Bible, genealogy is very important. And our people have a lot of them have a reluctancy to doing their family trees, or to even talk to their elders about their family trees. See? So uh, I go back to the fact that the elders dropped the ball. They dropped the ball in many instances, not because they wanted to do harm to their children. They wanted things better for their children and grandchildren and so forth. And they thought assimilation into this system was a way to go. They thought relying on the Bible was the way to go. They forgot that they was playing a role with that Bible. See, that was some of Bobby Hemmett did a video years ago, and he was talking about the Bible, how the people had the Bible, but they would take their traditional ways and they bring them in the church and they hide behind the Christianity stuff, and somewhere along the way they forgot. So they pretty much set the tone for their children and grandchildren to be caught up because of the Bible. And that's how a lot of these people end up in the Hebrew Israelites, because they said that's the word of God.
Yeah,
Even,
yeah, yeah. You're right. But I got to take it back further than that, though. I got to take it back all the way back to 1492 when these Europeans got over here, uh, uh, pointing towards the males, because when the European came over here, he met the males. That's who he ran into when he got here. So evidently, the males stopped doing their job because talking to, because I mean, honestly, we naturally are good people. We'll talk to anybody. We'll help anybody. I mean, that's just natural. So that's probably what they did. But anyway, uh, somebody had to talk you into, because I don't they didn't force you to do nothing, because if you go back to all these wars that we were having with the Europeans, they was getting their butt handed to them handily. So they figured it out. We got to come up with a non-violent way to get to these people, and they knew they couldn't do it through the females, because the females were too in tune to nature to get to the females. So they had to get to the males, and they actually talked the males into. Example, how many people know that the first economy was females? The first economy in this country, in America, was females selling females and then children. These so who, who was selling them? Who was selling these females and children? Had to be the males. So yeah, our elders, yeah, we took that Bible stuff and stuff, and we got into it, but heck, it goes back a whole lot longer than that. It goes back to when these people got here and how they talk the males into adopting patriarchy. So that's
Indigenous Accomac says this, and this is something we all got to think about, and we all got to be real about it, and we got to stop bullshitting. Because listen to what she says. My elders did not drop the ball. I honor my elders. They lived in a world of constant oppression. I dropped the ball. My peers dropped the ball. Baby boomers and Generation X dropped the ball. And I think, in keeping in line with this conversation, that was what Rick was saying. Not everybody. It's not 100. It's what you ever heard of the talented 10? Well, I reversed that, and it's like 10% of the people tried to be like, or was trying to be like Indigenous Accomac says. They wasn't trying to sell their mothers. They wasn't trying to sell their kids. They kept their families together. Some people did, like you have today. You don't think with all this child trafficking, you ain't got some shines out there selling their kids? You know they do. We don't want to talk about it though. You don't think these kids getting sold for food for McDonald's? You don't think they getting sold by their parents who ain't got no money, who want that Cadillac? Some of us do that. And I think what she's saying, her elders wasn't with it. They tried to do the best at the time of what they had. They were probably getting fired upon. Brother probably built a 5-bedroom spread on some land. And he had a wife and kids and was getting rode on by night riders. So no, not everybody dropped the ball. Some people tried to persevere through, but a lot, like you see today, they don't care. You know, like the brother who got shot in Wisconsin. I talk to brothers every day who show me the gunshots they got shot from other brothers. But it's funny how we don't never talk about that. That's not important. We don't talk about what we do to us because we're not thinking, well, what we do to ourselves, other people will do it to us too. We don't even think that. You know, Jesus gonna come fix it. So listen to what these people say. Listen to what people who thinking are saying. Listen to the brothers who called up earlier on the phone, what they saying. Don't be mad. Don't be upset. Because they telling you the truth. You just want to keep doing dumb shit and keep this dumb shit going because you get something from it. And so that's what I'm getting. Indigenous Akamak said, no, your elders didn't fail because without people like your elders, none of our asses would be standing here. Amen.
Well, they definitely didn't lie. They definitely didn't lie to you. So I definitely see what Indigenous Akamak is saying. Because they told you who you was. You didn't accept it.
Yeah, but the dropping of the ball aspect is when they thought it was a good idea that all the marching that they did, all the sacrificing that they did in the 60s, 50s, and 60s, trying to make it where there was no segregation, and they thought that the children assimilating into the system was something that they paid the price for us to be able to do. Now, and we see what happened. We see what happened. Our people, what little that they managed to hang on to in the 60s, from that point on, our people lost everything. So that's what I mean when I say drop the ball. Because they really believed that their sacrifice took care of all of the hardships and oppression that they had to deal with in the 50s and the 60s. They thought that they took care of that. And our job was to go out into the world and blend into this system. And we too would be able to enjoy a good life.
Mm-hmm.
But see, what happened was we lost ourselves in that. And that's part of my motivation in doing what I do. I try to educate people every chance I get on who they are at this point in time, who they are in this land, because we left assimilated into this system, we became a part of the system. That's why we dealing with the same stuff that we had to deal with in the 50s and the 60s and the 40s. Nothing's changed.
Exactly.
See, so that's what we mean. I don't say it. The elders dropped the ball as a means of being disrespectful to them, but we have to be honest, and we all have to assume our role, what role we had in all of this, and we try to pick up the pieces. See, that's the whole point in educating the next generation, because we don't want this madness to continue on, and our children don't know who they are, walking around here letting strangers tell them who they are. No, we can't allow that anymore because it's killing our people.
Carrie, when I say that the elders dropped the ball, I mean that the elders told us who we were. And they still tell you who you are, because I talk to elders all the time. I mean, I'm one of those obedient children, sit there and listen at them. And I believe every damn thing they say. I believe what they say because I know they're telling the truth. I'm talking about, we were encouraged. My generation was encouraged not to have children, go to school, be better than, get a good job, live a better life. I was not taught, like I should have, how to be independent the old way. And I understand the elders did not want us to, have to work as hard as they did. I get that. But imagine if we were set up to live independently, where we're not so codependent on the system for a job, for healthcare, for all this other stuff, where we would have been.
Well, listen, I want to bring in a brother from Philadelphia. He has something to say on the subject. Go ahead, brother.
Peace, family. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, brother, go ahead.
Oh yeah, cool. I thought it was like a little delay. But yeah, my name is Askia Sabor. I'm coming out of West Philadelphia. And there's a lot of brothers and sisters in Philly that's doing work as far as our people is concerned. I'm not sure if y'all know, but in 2011, we had got a resolution passed recognizing the American Indians of Pennsylvania. And Vincent Hughes, one of the state representatives, he had signed the resolution. And then, this is in Harrisburg, PA, at the Capitol. And then later on, Philadelphia had adopted the resolution. We got Belmont Plateau, the famous, Belmont Plateau. Will Smith mentioned it in his rap. That's where everybody go. But we got that recognized as a Lenape village and burial mound. So, it's things here that the youth is doing, but the support from our elders needs to be stronger. They gotta stop fearing the youth and talk to them. Build bring that respect level back. Because now the youth is looking at our elders like, yo, y'all weak. I mean, y'all not really doing nothing, and they see a lot of these Pan-African groups, they fake. Like, I grew up in the movement, and from what I've seen coming up in the Nation of Islam or running around with Move, Sister Pan-Africa, and all the, the Africa family, those real revolutionary groups from back in the day, they're not here no more. So now we have, a bunch of social engineering going on to keep this Pan-African thing going and to keep the youth, disconnected from the indigenous here.
So, brother, what do you think would happen if all the youth, because I have nephews and stuff that I see when you give truth, when you give the youth some truth, they take it and turn it into something off the hook.
Exactly. I mean, the walk would be different. You think it wouldn't even be so-called black on black crime like it is,
right?
Because now I recognize who you are. I recognize you, my cousin. I'm saying you might be third, fourth generation. I mean, now I can't. I gotta move differently now. You know what I'm saying? I look at my neighborhood different now.
Right.
I'm saying I'll stop past. I'll touch this tree to release my negative energy. You know what I'm saying? It's certain things that when we start teaching our youth the culture, they'll know how to move and they'll do things differently. They won't go grab a little blunt so they can smoke some loud or whatever. They'll just go to the park. You know what I'm saying? Like look for some rocks and fuck around and do some what you call it, rock tumbling. And because now they have something tangible that they could practice. You got a lot of brothers and sisters born in Philly that's born Muslim, but they've been practicing it so long and it's not as
American Indian heritage. You know,
Right.
they can go on Hajj and pilgrimage, but it's still not a solid. You know, it's not that blood. Like the Bible say, trust in the blood. Well, I get my blood from my grandmother. You know, I'm from North Carolina. That's how I'm gonna move. We gonna have these family reunions. We gonna bring it back. You know, and that's something that we have to be, you know, mindful of. You know, but all that Pan African stuff is done. Like I've been in it. Brother Kerry.
Yes, sir.
Listen, like not to change the subject, but in 2010 I was assaulted by a Philadelphia police department. You know, if you type my name in the search engine, a video of the police, my police beating is gonna pop up. You know what I'm saying, but because that situation happened, like they didn't know that I'm very known in my community, in the revolutionary community. And as soon as that shit hit the news, we shut the whole avenue down. You know, and my neighborhood know that I rep this American Indian shit till I die. You know what I'm saying? I walk like it, I live like it. You know what I'm saying? And that's how we gonna get through this shit. One of the criteria is self-recognition, then community recognition. But if we don't have stuff on every day that we can identify as, hold up, you know, this brother looks Indian. He must be an Indian. And especially with our women, because people know that we come from our women. If our women wear some type of Indian regalia, you can associate that man or that child with that woman. You understand?
Brother, it's just that simple, huh?
It's that simple. It's just that simple.
So to the people in the chat, so when Indigenous Accomac say that her grandparents, she honors her grandparents, you're going to say 20 years down the line that you honor this guy. Your kid's going to say he honors this guy. And what I'm saying, and all I'm trying to say is we need more guys like this. We need more guys like Neely Fuller, Lanon Honor, all these cats that are, come on, y'all. And we don't, and that's the minority. That's the minority that we're talking about, Accomac. You know, it's a lot of us want to go the other way.
Yeah.
Usually they paying basketball players $50 million a year.
And another thing, beloved, like I don't big it up. I'm not in the gang banging, but what's going on, you know, around the community, Chicago, New York, whatever. These brothers are soldiers. They're warriors. You know, but it's fear. Like I'd rather kill my brother than go after my enemy. You know what I'm saying? So it's like they don't really understand like where that energy is supposed to be directed to. You know, and because we're not bringing this information, bringing our culture to the forefront, you know what I'm saying, we're just, like the sister said, we just purging ourselves out, you know. But when we look at our photos back in the day, all you see is our brothers in warrior regalia. They was killers. You know what I'm saying? And this is why other people clutch their purses. I mean, get scared around us because they know how we used to be. You know what I'm saying? Like I know our culture is about love and all of that, but we stress that a little too much. All that weak shit, it gotta stop. It's time for the thunderers to come back into position and really put this shit in order, because this land belongs to our women and our children. Our women can talk. The men just gotta stand there on their square and let motherfuckers know this is what it is and this is what's gonna be. And I have no problem doing it. You know, like I've been on the front line, but it's other brothers gotta step up to the plate and stop running to these religions thinking that's gonna save us when it's numbers and truth. Then we have to look like who we are.
Well, brother, you know? I want to say thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you for your work. And listen to what this brother said. He was just telling you. He was to look him up in the Philadelphia, how the city of Philadelphia, you know, recognize these people. These are the things we have to do all over the country.
I forget the number, the resolution number, but I'm gonna find it and send it to you. I think it's 861 or something. Resolution number.
Okay, so this is the brother that was talking like Indigenous Accomac. See, we all connected. She say something, he come back with something, and it just connects us in. That's how we used to be. We like, you see how ants walk by each other? How ants walk by each other and they touch each other and they give energy to each other. That's how we used to do. There's no argument. We ain't got no reason to fight and fuss over each other. Only when you trying to bullshit is because, like the brother said, this land is your women and children's land. How don't we look at that? Because you have to realize that eventually that falls back on you. It's your land because the women have you. We don't get that. We don't know that we don't get it. So that's why I like to talk to intelligent people. Dumb motherfuckers nauseate me. Charlene?
Yes, sir.
Just got it. The Black Panther actor is dead. I don't really care because I didn't know him, but this is what I'm saying. This is why we got to start thinking. Black Panther actor is dead. Now, to many of us, we gon' send flowers and pray and do all that other dumb shit. But remember, he's a symbol. What do other people think about when they see that? What do Asian people think about when they see that? What do Europeans think about when they see that? Black Panther is dead. That's a cold message to send to the world. And it's personal to me because the Black Panthers, the whole term started in Alabama for the people who wanted to vote. Shine stole it and took it to Oakland, and you know that story. These are symbols, these are words, these are ideology that other people in the world take up to use against you. I know you want to go get a donut and all that other bullshit. These are the rituals, these are the words, these are the images that are played across, and it's not you're not the only one on the world. It's other people here. And when they pick it up, they will use it against you. I mean, I don't know how much more simple to get.
So what you're asking me? I mean, should I?
We just got a call in from Phoenix Moon. I ain't gonna say shit. I'm just gonna let her speak. Action.
Number left one.
Hey Phoenix, what's going on, babe?
Hey, Phoenix.
Oh, everything is healthy. Everything's healthy. I'm excited about Texas and things we got going on. Yes, I just saw that the dude from Black Panther. It's also you talked about symbolism. It's also a sign that Wakanda is coming back home, right? Wakanda's coming back home. We got to bring back our ancestors in a way that they're never forgotten, that we don't forget, future generations don't forget. It's not about who's dropping the ball, because there's people right now that's in the same loop as us, and they are not looking up anything that's going to stop them from being oppressed, right? So it's really a personal choice on whether or not people really want to get themselves together, as a collective and stuff like that. This Hebrew mix, I probably had about 8 months of learning the Bible, and all of this happened as an adult. And I'm gonna tell you why I didn't laugh, because at the point where they kept trying to exclude grandma and insert all these other people, it just got really, really weird to me. I was able to take certain elements of the Bible and apply it, specifically You know, I was able to apply it legally in different situations that count for people of color specifically. So I ain't gonna take it with that. But at the end of the day, the dogmatic approach, definitely a situation. What I did notice about the Hebrew men, very aggressive, very oppressive, and borderline abusive, even in their speech. You know, and I noticed that the women are very subjective, very docile, and naive. And I didn't fit those criteria, right? The reason why I say that is because of the way that they prey on those women. They leave out of the church, and when they leave from the church, they're still vulnerable. And they get into these areas, and you know, they're in search of themselves, which is nothing wrong with that. Because sometimes a lot of these ideologies, they actually help people become better people, even if you know it doesn't necessarily attach them to the land. But there's some things that they may omit from their lifestyle as a result of whatever it is, and I could agree with that. But at the point where it takes away from grandma and grandpa and who you are, Jesus ain't coming when the cops come try to knock you upside your head. I don't know what it is that people are going to need, but you know, whatever, to each their own. But if that supersedes grandma and grandpa and what we got going on in this field, that is a major issue. That is a very big concern. They really kind of, a lot of these people though, they're really kind of running out of steam. They may gain momentum here and there, but they're running out of oxygen. Everybody in the world gonna have to pay homage to grandma and grandpa, one way or another. I don't believe it's going to be any other way. I don't care who the oppressed people are. I don't care what they are, Chinese, Bengali, whatever they are. They're going to have to check with grandma, or they're going to be under the thumb of somebody's oppression. Nothing's going to change. Nothing's going to change if nothing changes.
Nothing's going to change if nothing changes. Ooh.
That's it.
Hey, but these folks.
It ends up being a lot of kids because we have to change. We got to stop doing that. You know, have your moment, take your moment, but damn it, don't let it last too long. Sometimes that moment lasts years.
Right.
That moment lasts years. And people spend a lifetime of just mourning. And there's time that, you know, just lamenting and stuff like that. And which is, you know, probably a natural reaction to some of the pain and stuff that they feel, but not being able to find out how to empower or strengthen yourself or get next to somebody that you know you can draw some strength from without sucking the life out of them. There's so many different avenues and ways to go about this, and we kind of in a class by ourselves right now. We're waiting for other people to catch on, but for the ones that get it, that know, there's a certain way we're supposed to be moving. It's entirely too many of us where we can't throw $20 together to buy a piece of land. There's no way. And we make sure that, you know, we got fresh produce and stuff like that. A lot of the stuff that concerns, you know, the average person comes from, it's media driven. It's not long-term planning. And this is what some of the habits that we have to get out of. And if we don't surround ourselves with people that are focused on that mission, you kind of tend to go backwards. You know, that old adage the elders used to say, tell me who you hang with and I know who you are. But if you're constantly around a bunch of sad, depressed people all the time, chances are you will be sad and depressed. You'll be around 10 million of this, you will probably be the 11th one. So I think these, you know, the changes, again, nothing changes if nothing changes.
Phoenix, you're absolutely right. But before you go, could you tell the audience about the No Grandma Killer that's coming up?
Yes, we will be in Dallas, Texas, September 5th and 6th. The tickets are available on grandmakillers.com. And we have all of your favorite speakers that are going to be there. Shout out to everybody that was in Atlanta. It was the bomb squad. We had an excellent time. It was completely awesome. And we got a lot of things done. See, it wasn't just the fact that we had that event. It's what transpired after. People were high off of that positive vibe for almost a month. It lasted for a long time. People were able to open businesses and do different things that they weren't able to do prior to that. So I'm really grateful for the way that it turned out, because even after it turned out well, it turned out better. So I'm excited about that. And again, for the people in Texas, if you're looking to create a business or start your entrepreneurial endeavors, there'll be people there. Toxins Assembly will be there to assist you. Tasha and I will be there. Spirit Wolf, Johnny Aborigine, of course, Carrie Davis, our beloved sisters from the Acromat, Blair and Cypress. We're going to be in attendance. It's going to be, make sure you come with the right attitude, because it's going to be an uplifting thing. It's going to be an uplifting thing. Everybody is welcome from 8 to 80. Right? We don't have any problems. There'll be things for the children to do. We should make this a family thing. If you can get your elders out the house, bring them. It's going to be an environment where they'll be okay. They'll be comfortable. The same thing. It should be a family thing, or at least people that are, have questions and want some answers. If they're going to be in the area, definitely come through. Again, you can buy the tickets at the website. If you have any questions, there's a number there posted. You can certainly contact us at that number, and we'll try and get any questions answered in regards to what's going to happen in Texas. But it's September 5th and 6th. I'm super excited, and I can't wait to see everybody there.
Check out what this sister said, man, what these sisters are doing. We also have Lyra and Cypress doing the same thing up in Virginia.
Yes, in October.
Where you get to see, where you get to see your people. You get to see how they act. And when you're around these people, man, it's a cool vibe.
Yes.
It's a cool vibe. Yes. So, Phoenix, thank you. Thank you for sharing with us tonight. And I got it.
Yes, I will talk to you. So, hi, Charlene Brown. I love you. Hi, Charlene.
Hey, Phoenix.
How you doing, Sean? Good to see you. Good to hear from you, darling.
Thanks, Phoenix.
Hey, Phoenix. Talk to you soon.
I love you. She's so sweet. I love her.
So, that's Phoenix Moon. She's doing the No Grandma Killers tour, and she's taking this countrywide. She's taking, and when people just hear the term No Grandma Killer, that stops people in their tracks.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
It stops people in their tracks. And so this is the kind of sister that we should be supporting, that we should be coming up and trying to come up with ways to make. We got brothers that can take their daughter's tricycle and make it into a helicopter and make it fly using voice command. Damn. This is the kind of shit we are. When we want to watch the game, football season about to start, that's where we are. Them dead Negroes. So you got people out there who are doing stuff. You got people out here who are connected to this land. You got people out here connected to their grandmas. You got people out there that go out in nature and speak to whatever in nature. They listening to what nature's telling them. They communicate with the animals. You used to get down with deers, but now you want a dog. Amen.
Carrie, the best source to give us our oral history is our elders. And I cannot stress it enough.
No, you're absolutely right.
I asked one of the elders one day, I said, why is it that, the in the movies during, when they were young, why didn't they ever show us having a good time, smiling, and nothing else? The elder said, let me tell you something, we did have a good time. We weren't trying to bust down white folk doors to try to go to their establishments. She said, we had everything we needed. Mm-hmm. We had a good time. She said, I had a good childhood. She said, if I wanted to go and make some extra money by going into the fields, she said, I could. But if I didn't want to, I didn't have to. Mm-hmm. She said they enjoyed themselves at their own little juke joints and everything else. They got dressed, got their hair pretty, and everything else.
You know what? I bet them juke joints was cold.
Of course. I mean, Otis Redding,
Mm-hmm.
Sam Cooke, and those, I mean, tales like them.
Well, now we have the Indigenous Accomac on here. She's going to talk about what we're talking about tonight. She's going to hit on it. And then she's going to tell us about what she got coming up in October. Lyra, what's going on, babe?
Hey, Haliko, Aseo, how you doing? Yeah, it's really, really a great thing you're doing tonight. I love the topic. I love the guests. It's like really vibrant. It's good. It's good. It's good to get in there and talk about these things. Yeah, I feel like we need to be more critical to ourselves. It's easy to slow things back or slow things forward, but I think we need to look in the doggone mirror. I feel like the real fucked up generation is our debate. I mean, baby boomers work hard, they're good, but we're stupid if we mess things up. We mess this shit up because we're the first. We go from World War. We go from the Vietnam War, to 1964 and civil rights and all that. We go through all that, okay? So we went through all that stuff, and we were the first, and we watched our sisters, and the younger of us watched our older sisters and brothers go to college or go to war, okay? And what did we do? Well, we started, okay, our sisters were just going into disco, they were just going and cocaine. So when they were getting educated, like my sister was educated by Nikki Giovanni, okay? So she goes to the college, she's indoctrinated, and she's bringing home all these black, tan, African, all these things into the house. And I'm reading, I'm 10 years old, and I'm reading all this stuff, right? I'm reading roots and all this stuff. So it is not my parents. My parents were raised with sharecroppers, okay? They grew up sharecropping, and they got the hell out of Virginia and tried to make a better life. They lived with their mama, and they all lived together in the tenement. They put their money together. They saved. They invested. They did all things smart Negro should do. They built a house. They saved their money. What else do you want from a damn people? Okay? So no, I don't blame my family. Okay? I don't blame my elders. I do not. I blame myself. Okay? Because we were the generation, the first generation of opportunity. You may call it this opportunity, but our people didn't know when you ain't got no choice. You can't sit up there and fault the people that ain't got no choice. Okay? You fault the generation that got the choice. No. You can't say, oh no, you need to keep on calling yourself Negro and be oppressed. No, that's not necessarily a choice you would have made had you been in their situation. No, I don't think you have that. I don't think you have that. I don't think we have that right to do that. That's all I'm saying. I don't think we have that right to say, oh, you should have just kept us, in the woods with the outhouses, da. Let me tell you something. I have a whole bunch of family that stayed in the woods with the outhouses. And basically, a lot of them are still close to that right to this day. And not in a good way. Okay? So, I mean, you got to think about what you're freaking saying when you say some of this stuff. Because evolving has to happen in different ways. And, and you really can't say stay basic, and yet you need to progress in some aspects in order to stay basic. Because you can stay basic and then not be able to get out to really progress because you're so stuck in being oppressed in your basic life that you really can't do nothing for yourself. And that's where a lot of our people in Mississippi and in all these little places in the South, they still know how to sew clothes. You don't think there's people that still know how to sew clothes and rodeo food? There's lots of us that still do that. You may not communicate with your cousins to do that. You may not visit your people lifestyle to still do that. But there are so many of us that still do that. I mean, maybe those of us that have become disconnected are disconnected. And I'm not gonna get mad at my family because they moved us on out of that situation. And we had opportunities to learn different things and go different places and experience different things and that kind of thing. Because I know exactly how the enemy thinks. I know how to communicate. I learned about politics and how to move in this world. I'm not mad at that at all. I'm happy that we got that. Now, what did I do with it? What did I do with it? That's the question. What are you doing with it now? What are you doing with your grandkids? And what are you doing with your kids? You know, well, that's what we need to be.
Garvey, can you tell us about the upcoming event up with the Acamax in October?
The Acamax, yeah. Last year we had the first Indigenous Summit in Cape Charles, Virginia, and actually the brother from Harrisburg, he happens to be related to me. He actually did show us that resolution, a copy of that resolution that was born in Harrisburg public school system. You know, he educated us about that at the summit last year. So that's interesting that the brother brought that up. Yeah, there are a lot of people doing really great things all around the country, and that's what we need to be applauded. That's the thing. I think at this time, more so than ever, it's time not to be critical of each other, but time to love each other up. And especially a time to be honoring our ancestors. Like, I can't even tolerate, like, come on. Like, that's the most, to me, that is the most powerful thing that we must do at this time, is to show honor in every way, shape, and form. And hopefully our children will get some of that, because they need to be honoring us. They have to understand this whole honoring your mother and father, this whole honoring, it is a big energy. And it's tremendous. It's the most powerful energy that we have at our fingertips. And doing that, your thoughts and your actions and your deeds and everything, that is so powerful. It is so important. So yeah, I mean, okay. People are imperfect, okay. But what we need to be projecting is everything good and everything positive. And that's why I'm like, at this summit, we try to keep everything good, everything positive. I try to show positivity, and everybody who wants to do anything, we're about trying to make dreams come true. This is about dreams coming true time. That's what we're working on. That's the energy we're working off of. Dreams are coming true. I want to make sure that I support Grandma Killers, and I'm there with Phoenix, and give energy to that, give positive energy to that. We have to support each other, love each other, throw our money into each other, because that's what it's about. We throw money into all kinds of dumb stuff. Throw your money into something that's going to make somebody's life better. Give somebody a few coins so they can print a couple of t-shirts, or make a basket, or I don't know, whatever they want to do. Drawing, I don't know. But instead of throwing your money into something that's wasteful and something ridiculous and something, or a purse or something, a coach purse. Coach don't need your money. Coach don't care about you. They don't love you. You can spend that money into throwing a better life for somebody. So that's the kind of energy we're trying to bring about in the Eastern Shore. And the Eastern Shore, we're trying to awaken these my relatives, the people, the Acamaxers are there in a very oppressive kind of environment. We're trying to give them, the light, the opportunity, and the encouragement. So all of us convening in the actual homeland and the actual former reservation, actual former prison, slave prison of our people, which is where we're having the event, is a very powerful thing. And it's so big to kind of build off of that, and then, to be able to do, some good and enjoy ourselves and share such good information. I'm really looking forward to everybody coming together. But I'm even more looking forward to trying to be able to get out there and help everybody else with all your efforts. As everybody starts to get awakened, everybody's going to start doing stuff. And I look forward to being able to help everybody do their stuff and get their stuff done. That's what we need to be doing.
Well, Lisa, thank you very much. And I will be there. And I'm sure Phoenix will be there. Rig Moon will be there. And listen, if you
Yay!
never been on the if you never been on the eastern shore of Virginia, damn, it's bad. And it's a whole lot of places here in America where we're from that people tell you to be scared of, like Mississippi, like Alabama, like Arkansas, that are some of the most beautiful places in the world. So, Lisa, thank you. And thank you for
You're
sharing
welcome.
and sharing with us tonight. All right,
Thank you. You guys have a good night.
all right. I didn't know we were over the 2 hour mark, so I'm gonna call in the panel to give a final word because I know everybody got to get to the juke joint tonight. Rick, we closing out, man. What you think about what you participated in and what you heard from the other guests, the callers?
Yeah. Well, everything. I enjoyed the show. Everybody, had good points. But I want to say this, and I'm just gonna lay it down. I'm just gonna lay it down straight. All of that stuff we talked about tonight is all great and everything, but the most important thing is we got to return back to nature. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We got to return back to nature. We need to be doing the things that we supposed to be doing. The earth, this Mother Earth was created perfectly. She was created perfectly. So meaning that she made sure that you had all the food you needed. She made sure that you had all the medicine that you needed and everything else. And I'm sorry, it don't make a difference what you do. Our people don't have a chance if we don't return to that. The, McDonald's is not food. That's not what we're supposed to be eating. The supermarket, do you see giraffe? I mean, not giraffe. Do you see deer, squirrels, rabbits? Do you see all of them going to Food Lion to get food, buying food? No, they find their food in their environment, and that's what we need to be doing. And uh, we need to start eating from out there instead of buying all this stuff in the supermarket because all the food is out there. Also, we need to start getting into that because we're gonna have to go back to it and suggesting that's what we do at FIA. We do this stuff. We just don't talk. We do it. We go out in the woods. We forage. We do all that. We build all the things that we supposed to be doing. I don't care. I don't care how much you that how far we go with this thing. I want to go back to where it used to be because that's where your power is too. It's also where your power is. So if we don't return back to that, all of this stuff that we talked about tonight, and all the stuff that's going on with the grandma's tour and all that stuff comes to no avail because eventually we got to get a. It might sound rough or tough, but we got to get away from all of them. We need to be with us. And like I said, our food is out there on the earth. It's not in no supermarkets or none of that stuff. So that's what I'm saying. We got to return back to where it used to be. That's the only way we gonna survive this. And I don't care what nobody say. And with that, good night.
Thanks, Rick. Charlene,
Well, Carrie, I enjoyed the show and listening to the callers and everything. And every time I listen, I try to get something from the message or from the speaker. I'm still learning, and
We all
But
are.
yeah, just want to bring home, we are going to have to get back to the earth. And Rick Moon is correct. That is where our power is. A lot of people are doing a lot of different things, and that's great, because it's not like we were conquered by using one method. So, being in different areas pretty much is like filling the bases. So I can appreciate that and everything. But we're gonna have to get back to growing our own food. We're gonna have to get back to making our own clothes. We're gonna have to get back to being a little bit more independent. So we're not totally dependent on the system.
And we
We're
don't
gonna
want to
have to
be.
go back to building, fishing again, teaching the children their ancestral skills. These were our skills. Our mamas made clothes out of plants, made food out of plants. The majority of the food in America has been distributed across the world. That they now call their cuisines and stuff from our some of our plants. If I
So,
could feed myself, I don't need to take your bullshit just because you feeding me. That's it.
so would it be better to say we don't need to get back to that because it's looking like we walking backwards, or we need to move into that?
No, we need to move it to us being independent.
I mean, since we're going forward anyway, you know.
I'm saying collectively, Carrie. While right now is a great opportunity while these mothers are home with their children to start, teaching them how to plant, to start teaching them how to grow their own food. The children love it. They don't look at it as a chore. They see
And
their
we've
own
seen it too.
creation. Huh?
I was saying, and we see that, and we see that the children enjoy it too. When we
Yes.
go up the field. And another thing, also, sorry to cut you off, Charlene, but I also want to say, uh, please go to the field website. We have all kinds of products and stuff that's made only for us. They're only for our people, only for the indigenous people. And these are if you go to the website, you'll see a lot of the things that we selling up there that is going to help you nutritionally and help us get back to where we should be eating. And go ahead, Charlene, my fault.
No, that's it. Thank you.
Okay, Miss Shirey.
Yes, I enjoyed the show. Um, but here's a truth. Here's a truth. In order for us to move forward, we have to acknowledge the past. We have to acknowledge the mistakes, the errors in judgment that people before us made, and they made a lot of them. And it's not being disrespectful when you acknowledge that, because you have to. You have to know what caused the conditions that our people suffer from, and the condition that will make them go and take up all these different ideologies, such as Hebrew Israelitism. So once we able to understand how it was done, we can move forward from it. Because basically our people have broken away in the most disrespectful way from their own, from the ancestors. They broke away from their land. And what we're trying to do is reconnect people, at least give them the tools where they can go back and be their true selves. So this is not an attack on elders, but we have to be honest. We cannot turn a blind eye to what was done. We got to know the past. We must know the past so that we will have a different future. So that's that's something that we must do. It's ugly sometimes, but we must acknowledge what was done in the past so that we don't repeat it. So I just, from the spirit of the show was basically about how our people is dealing with the confusion caused by being a part of Hebrew Israelitism. Well, we got to know our past, and that way strangers can't come along and hand us a pile of dogma for us to, further distance ourselves from our truth. So that's
And
what I wanted to share.
well, thank you, Shire, for joining us. And I just want to end with this. You heard Rick Moon said we got to get back to nature. We gotta everything that's here that was given to us, we allow other people to come in, just walk away with it. And we pat them on the back while they're walking away with it. And you're gonna have to ask yourself, everybody see where the world is going. What we gonna do about it as a group? Not one man can do it, not one woman can do it, not one group, not one nation. It's gonna take all of us, y'all. So all that arguing and fussing and fighting over dumb shit that we're always confused about, clean it out, clean it up, find out who you are. You from right here, except the foreigners who come from another place. And I would say, really, you're gonna have to find out who your people were because they live by natural resources. You are that natural resource. When you claim you in a desert from Israel, Egypt, and all those are dead places, by the way, they've been dead for years. When you claim that you're that, you claim that you're a resource from that. When these people come over here and claim you, they claim that shit, the cotton in Virginia is mine. That's mine. Everything in the Delta, that's mine. You don't claim that. You claim that you're from somewhere else that your mama didn't even come from. And that's all we about. This is your home. Start acting like it. Thank you for spending 2 hours and 17 minutes with African Americans Ain't Africans. We hope you got something from this. Let's move forward, y'all. Peace.
Peace.
Akichawa.